by First Purse Sudbury Religious Exploration. It is me, Mr. Robert.
And here.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for joining us today and for our February video. So before we start, I'm going to tell you what this the February theme is. Our theme this month is Widening the Circle. Widening the Circle. In this lesson, we reflect on widening the way we accept ourselves, understanding our insides and outsides. Our society encourages us to spend time on our outsides. What we wear, how tall we are, how short we are, how big we are, how small we are, sometimes our skin, all that, right? And they either show how great it is, encourage you with it, or sometimes they make fun of you or discourage you. Society can be rough on how we deal with people's outsides and our own. People mostly do not portray the important things inside of them. Something like what they're wondering, how they ponder life, what they believe inside, how they act, how they care, who they care for, and how do they make meaning of the world that we live in. That's all in the inside, right? This is all in the inside, and we don't always show that part. And these are the things that make us who we are, though. These are the things that get us through the hard and the sad times. These are the things which help us work for justice. Our faith reminds us that it is the insides that matter the most. The insides that matter the most. So, as we jump into this lesson for today, we must first start our lighting our chalice. Are you all right there over there, sir? Okay. Are you ready to lead us in chalice lighting?
Yes.
All right. Look at the camera and lead us, please.
I have eyes to see. I have ears to listen. I have a mouth to speak truth, and I have a hand to help.
Hand to help.
Hello there.
Hello.
All right. So as we start, I wanted this reflection on ideas. Let me ask you a question. Do you know what anatomy is?
Yes.
Do you know what anatomy is? What is anatomy?
It's part your body,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the inside of your body.
No. So there you go. Anatomy is the study of all parts of our body. Yeah. Insides. A lot of times it's based on the insides, like our guts and stuff like that. But sometimes it's the outside too. Yeah, trick them like that. hey, keep your hands to yourself. None of that. So, so anatomy is the study of all parts of the body, inside and out. A lot of times, it in certain parts, it does concentrate more on the inside. Certain classes concentrate on the muscles and the organs. The skin though is the skin. Human skin is the largest organ of the body. You know that? Did you know that? It's anatomy. Now, we have insides and outsides. Insides of us are our bones, our bloods, muscles, veins, intestines. What's up here?
Skull.
Skull. And what's inside that skull?
Brain.
The brain. Right.
Stuff.
You said what?
The jaw.
Okay, we have jawbones. There you go. This is true. We know about our anatomy because the ancient Greeks started looking into the human body about 300 BC. Now, BC, before Christ, right? So 300 BC, 300 years before Christ. Later, Leonardo da Vinci, you know who Leonardo da Vinci is?
Yes.
Who is he?
He's a famous painter.
He's a famous painter, there you go. Made anatomical sketches of the insides of the human body to understand how to sculpt the body accurately. Now, we know a lot about our anatomy. But when we talk about our insides in our faith, we think of not just anatomy, but about our unique gifts, thoughts, love, spiritual searching that makes us who we are. So in faith, when we talk about insides, or sometimes it's like in philosophy, when we talk about insides, we're not talking about all the gooey mushiness, the stuff that makes us human, body-wise. We're talking about the stuff that makes us human, emotionally and mentally and spiritually.
The soul?
Like soulish type stuff. Yeah, spirit. All right. So our theme this month is widening the circle. In this lesson, we reflect on widening the way we accept ourselves. So in our insides and outside. I already said this. We use social media like Instagram, which you do not use. I don't know if you do. Well, you don't. Or Snapchat, which again, you do not use. Or TikTok, which you don't use, but you've seen. You've seen. All that we see are the outsides of people. What they look like, the silly videos, how they sound, what they say, and all the photos. People mostly don't portray the important things inside of them on social media, right? Because they're trying to give an outward appearance of something. Like what they are wondering about, what they believe. Now, this is most people, because of course there are those outliers, those individuals who will share like their inner selves on some of these social media sites. And sometimes like that's beneficial to them, or it's beneficial to other people to see people like them, somebody who might feel the same way they feel. But overall, we're talking about the general population of it. Overall, they are not sharing the stuff they're wondering about, what they believe, how they act, who they care deeply for, and how they make meaning in this world. Most people are not. And these are the things that we think about, right? That's how, when we think about that stuff and we share that stuff with people, that's how people then understand us at a deeper level. And like that's important. It's important to share all, to be all right with sharing all of you in appropriate ways and to the appropriate people, but not feeling like you have to put on an act of something else. So I'm going to read you a story. Because a great way to do this is to explore how we project an outside appearance and an inside appearance is by sharing this wisdom tale. So it's a wisdom tale. And in this story, Nasruddin, a philosopher, Sophie and wise man, teaches the village about appearances. It's a great reminder about how people judge others by outward appearances versus inward appearances. All right. You ready, sir?
Yes.
Are you ready? Yeah, you are too. All right. So, sorry. Mullah Nasruddin feeds his coat. This is adapted from a Middle Eastern Islamic folk tale, which is attributed to different countries, including Turkey and Syria. You said you want to go to Turkey one day. So lovely. All right. Mullah Nasruddin had been working in the fields all day long. He was tired and sweaty, and his clothes and shoes were covered with mud and stains. Because he had been fasting all day long for Ramadan, do you know what fasting means?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
It's not eating food.
Yeah. Fasting is to not eat, right? It's to, right. For Ramadan, which is a holiday, right? He was also quite hungry. But finally, it was almost sundown, and Nasruddin knew that he would soon be able to eat. The wealthiest men in town had invited everyone to come break their fast in his home that evening with a huge feast. Nasruddin knew that he would be late if he went home to change his clothes before heading into town. He decided it was better to arrive in dirty clothes than to be late. Oh, what a party it would be! What a feast! As he walked to the wealthy man's home, Nasruddin imagined the delicious foods that he would soon be eating. Dates and lentils, chickpeas, olives, bread, hummus, falafel, chicken and beef, and best of all, the desserts. Halva, date rolls, figs, and baklava. When Nasruddin arrived, the wealthy man opened the door and looked Nasruddin up and down. Scornfully, from his worn, ragged clothes down to his muddy shoes, without a word of welcome, he gestured for Nasruddin to come in and walked abruptly away. Now, I wonder what the wealthy man was thinking or feeling. You have a thought? Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, what do you wear? Did you come here with that?"
Why?
Yeah.
No, maybe. What do you think he was thinking? I don't know. Let's hear what happens. Nasruddin joined the throngs of people who were all dressed in their finest clothing. The tables were laden with all sorts of delicious foods. Again, dates, lentils, chickpeas, olives and bread, hummus, falafel, chicken and beef, and best of all, the desserts. Halva, date roll, figs, and baklava. Despite his efforts to hurry, the seats were all taken, and nobody tried to move over or make a space for Nasruddin. In fact, nobody offered him food. He had to reach over and around people to get any food for his plate. Nobody spoke to him. It was as if he wasn't even there. Now, how do you think Nasruddin was probably feeling?
Like, I came here and nobody would, want to talk to me or anything?
And so how would that have made him feel?
Like, unwelcome.
Unwelcome. What do you think? How do you think he might be feeling at this point? The other guests ignored him so completely that Nasruddin could not enjoy the food on his plate, no matter how finely prepared and how tasty it was. In fact, after only a few bites, Nasruddin was so uncomfortable that he decided to leave. He hurried home and changed into his finest clothing, including a beautiful coat. Just took off his little stuff and put on this beautiful stuff, going all nice and, clean. But he had came from work, so really it just changed, right? Nasruddin returned to the feast, and this time the host welcomed him in with a huge smile. Come in, greeted the host. As Nasruddin entered, people waved and called to him from all corners of the room as they invited him to sit near them and offered him food. I wonder what the host and the other guests were thinking now. What do you think they were thinking now?
Oh, he's finally wearing nice clothes and appropriate stuff.
Do you think they were like, oh, look, he went home and changed. It was so nice for him to come back. Do you think they were like, oh, hey, Nasruddin, good for you to come back and join us, a little bit cleaner. Mm-hmm. So you think they knew it was him? All right. What do you think Nasruddin was feeling at this moment?
Feeling more welcome and happy.
Yeah, feeling good about himself right now. Mm-hmm. You agree? All right, well, let's find out. Nasruddin sat down quietly. Picking up a plump fig, he carefully placed it into a coat pocket, saying, "Eat, coat, eat." Next, he took a handful of nuts and put them into the pocket, saying, "Eat, coat, eat." Now he began to feed his coat in earnest, grabbing all sorts of food. What do you think he might have put in his pocket?
Like different sweets.
Like name one.
You could put the baklava.
Oh, yeah.
Or the bread and olives.
Yeah. So Nasruddin put the baklava in his pocket, saying,
"Eat, coat, eat."
Eat, coat, eat. You might have put what did you say? The bread and olives?
Yeah.
Bread and olives in there. What did he say?
Eat, coat, eat.
Eat, coat, eat. He fed the coat lentils and chickpeas, olives, bread, hummus, falafel, chicken and beef, and best of all, the desserts. Halva, date rolls, figs, and baklava. Nasruddin became silent as they watched this strange behavior. Soon, everyone in the room was staring at Nasruddin, wondering what he was doing. The host hurried over. Nasruddin, whatever are you doing? Why are you feeding your coat in this manner? Well, replied Nasruddin, when I first came to this feast in my old farming clothes, I was not welcome. No one would speak with me. But when I changed into this coat, suddenly I was greeted warmly. So I realized it was not me that was welcome at this party, but my clothing. And so I am feeding my coat. What do you think? Did you understand what he was saying at the end? Okay. So, what do you think the guest and the host were thinking when Nasruddin told them what he was doing and why he was doing it? How do you think they were feeling? What was going through their mind?
I think they're like, oh, maybe we should have been like nicer, or like, I didn't know.
Mm. But what about you? What do you think they might have felt? I think I would have been a bit embarrassed if I was like the host or one of the guests, because I didn't like, oh yeah, that's right, like he is the same person, like we know this man, he's part of our community, so why are we concentrating on the outside when we know who he is on the inside, right? That's what I would think. I think sometimes you get caught up in it. Why do you think Nasruddin returned to the party?
Because he really wanted to be there and like to see other people and the food. Like he was fasting, so like a big feast. He was like wasn't like, I mean, if they're being mean, I can still go.
So he just decided to still go back, huh?
Yeah. The man noticed me, that was how.
All right, but did he eat?
No.
No, he didn't eat, did he?
He was like thinking something has to put his coat on.
I'm sorry?
He was like thinking what he's gonna do. Change.
Right. That could be true. He could have also possibly went back for the sole purpose of making that point, right? Mm-hmm. To dress up and go back to show people that they were being very superficial, which is they were only paying attention to the outside, which isn't a nice way to deal with people. So he felt maybe the only way to make that point was to go back, look his best, and watch how they then treated him differently, as if he was a different person than he was the first time. Have you been treated differently depending on how you appeared? Have any of you?
No.
No. I will say, like, I have, like, sometimes you go and maybe you wear, like, you have to rush over to an appointment because you've been working and people expect you to dress a certain way. Sometimes that would happen when I was younger, like a kid. And I've been known in my own way to never be mean, but definitely to question how someone looks in certain situations. And that's not always nice. Like, because there are different reasons why someone might have what they have on or be in the condition that they're in. I like that story. It's a very interesting story.
Mm-hmm. Like a moral.
It does. It's teaching you something, doesn't it? Okay. Well, that is about widening the circle today. Time for us to do our milestone. Oh, look at you! You ready for? You got a milestone in there? Go ahead.
No, I just want to choose one.
It could be a joy or I can get my own. Thank you. It could be a joy or sorrow. Today I'm not going to do a full question. So it'll just be something that you would like to share. If it has something to do with widening your circle, that'd be great. And the idea of how we can be better at accepting ourselves. And sometimes the important part of that is accepting others. So, what do you have for us? No, let the young go first.
No, I think
They're waiting.
Oh. I have a joy that there's Valentine's Day coming up. There's a lot of different treats and spending time together.
Valentine's Day.
Isn't it tomorrow?
It is tomorrow.
There's also the Super Bowl. Which I'm pretty excited about.
Oh, alright, he's excited about the Super Bowl. I have a I'm gonna share a joy, and the joy is, excuse you all up in my bubble. The joy is that I made a cake for the first, not a cake for the first time. I made a chocolate cake for the first time. I make a lot of different cakes. Chocolate's not one of my favorite flavors, so I've never had to make one. And it seems like people, well, somebody who tasted it liked it, and that helped. That made me feel good because I love to cook, and baking is not something that I do a lot, but when I do it, it's nice if people enjoy it. It makes me feel good because it's one of the things that I get really nervous about. I'm very hard on myself, so it's nice to know that people enjoy it. Yeah. Is there anything else we want to share today? All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I do hope that, if you want to share some of your milestones or just your thoughts on today's lesson, please feel free to do so. You can send an email. You can respond to the video on the Facebook page. So, either way, it was great. Thank you. Until next time, take care.
Bye.
Oh, we forgot to blow off the chalice. Oh, that didn't work. Come on. It's no trick handle. Good job. Good job.